Good evening, friends, and welcome to the season premiere of the Regulation Strictly Sports Shows. I am your host, Anthony Floyo, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Apologies for the inconvenience of last week. As you know, a week ago, I had a beyond unexpected technical issue, and unfortunately, it took a lot longer than I would have liked to get it resolved, and it did get resolved, and by the time it did, it was way too late for us to do a show. So we had no choice but to cancel last week. But we're back and we're ready to go. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Started off with the 2022 NHL All-Star festivities. The skills competition took place on Friday, February the 4th, as some of the best hockey players in the world put their skills to the test at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. It was a night full of surprises, including a loss for Edmonton Oilers star Connor McDavid in the Fastest Skater Challenge, and a controversial win for Vegas Golden Knights defenseman Alex Pietrangelo in the Breakaway Challenge. So let's get into these results. We started off with the Fastest Skater, and in a surprising upset, St. Louis Blues forward Jordan Kyrou won the Fastest Skater competition with a time of 13.550 seconds. Connor McDavid, who had won the event 3 straight times from 2017 to 19, finished 4th in the event. Kyrou also competed in the AHL's Fastest Skater Challenge as a player for the San Antonio Rampage in 2019, and he placed 2nd with a time of 13.520, which would have placed 4th in the NHL's version of the competition that campaign. But nonetheless, Jordan Kyrou was the winner in that. The save streak, Tampa Bay Lightning star Andrei Vasilevsky and Toronto Maple Leafs goaltender Jack Campbell teamed up to give the Atlantic Division a win in this year's Save Streak Challenge. The duo combined for 9 straight saves. The win should come as no surprise. Vasilevsky has been one of the best goaltenders in the NHL over the last several years and won the Vezina Trophy during the 18-19 season. Campbell, meanwhile, is in the midst of one of his best NHL seasons with a .925 save percentage and a 2.30 goals against average. In the first ever edition of the Fountain Faceoff, Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski took home the victory with a time of 25.634 seconds. The Fountain Faceoff is one of the most unique events in NHL All-Star skills competition history, with the event taking place in the iconic Bellagio Fountains. Players traveled by boat to the rink and had to shoot 5 pucks into 5 targets in the least amount of time. Werenski topped Nashville Predators defenseman Roman Josi in the head-to-head final. Former USA women's hockey star Jocelyn Lamoureux Davidson finished 3rd. And then before Friday, the NHL's accuracy shooting challenge had typically been performed on a standard rink. Hardest shot, Victor Hedman. Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman Victor Hedman won this year's hardest shot competition with a 103.2 mile an hour slap shot to seal the win. New York Islanders defenseman Adam Pelech finished 2nd with a 102.2 shot. Hedman is the first Swedish player to win the hardest shot challenge since Frederick Modin in 2001, per ESPN's Greg Wyshynski. He is also the 3rd straight defenseman to win the competition. However, Zdeno Chara's record of 108.8, which he set in 2012, will stand for at least one more year. It's hard to imagine anyone ever breaking the mark, though Shea Weber almost did it in 2016 with a 108.1 mile an hour shot. Vegas Golden Knights defenseman Alex Pietrangelo won the Breakaway Challenge with 64 points thanks to actor Jon Hamm, who gave him a score of 19 for the event, even though he missed the net. Some might say Trevor Zegras, who wore the Average Joe's jersey from Dodgeball, was robbed. Others might say Jack Hughes, who pulled off a stunning magician routine, deserved the W. Either way, Pietrangelo was the winner. It should also be mentioned that Minnesota Wild forward Kirill Kaprizov had a nice tribute to Washington Capitals star Alexander Ovechkin with his breakaway attempt, and he likely should have received a slightly higher score. Ovechkin was unable to compete in the All-Star festivities after being placed in COVID-19 protocols. A brand new event called 21 and 22. This event was new this year. 5 players faced a full deck of oversized cards set up on a rack. Shooters had to reach 21 points without going over and do it in as few shots as possible, similar to blackjack. Each round was won by the first player to reach 21 or over, whoever had the highest hand. First player to win 2 rounds won the event. Dallas Stars forward Joe Pavelski could not miss. This was definitely a fun challenge, but don't expect it to return for next year's All-Star festivities, which will take place at the home of the Florida Panthers. And then from there, Carolina Hurricanes star Sebastian Aho won the accuracy shooting challenge by hitting all 4 targets in 10.937 seconds. He didn't miss any of his shots. Pittsburgh Penguins forward Jake Gensel and Anaheim Ducks forward Troy Terry finished second and third, respectively, outperforming Patrice Bergeron and Leon Draisaitl. And then, and that was it for the All-Star Skills competition. And then from there, it was on to the annual, to the 2022 NHL All-Star Game. Once again, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And when it was all said and done, score one for myself and for MF, because it was our division, the Metropolitan Division, who went on to win the All-Star Game. Claude Giroux capped a special weekend with his wife and son by scoring 2 goals in the final to help the Metropolitan Division win the 2022 Honda NHL All-Star Game 5-3 against the Central Division. Giroux, the Flyer captain, was named MVP. It's the 3rd time the Metropolitan has won the All-Star Game since the 3-on-3 format was established in 2016. It also won in 2017 and 2019. The Metropolitan defeated the Pacific Division 6-4 in the first semifinal to reach the final, and then the Central defeated the Atlantic 8-5 in the second semifinal. Metropolitan Division players split a prize of $1 million. Chris Kreider from the New York Rangers, he said it was a ton of fun. With the last couple of years, because of the COVID stuff, normally you're able to see guys potentially on the road that you might have played with or known and haven't really been able to do that. So to have this in the middle of the season to catch up with some guys is a breath of fresh air. Giroux, the Metropolitan Division captain, scored his second in the game and 3rd goal of the day from the slot at 2:42 to give it a 5-3 lead. He also had a goal and an assist in the semifinal against the Pacific. Clayton Keller, Jack Hughes had a goal and an assist in the final after scoring 2 goals in the semifinal. Evgeny Kuznetsov and Chris Kreider also scored for the Metropolitan. Clayton Keller, Joe Pavelski, and Nazem Kadri scored for the Central, which has never won the All-Star Game in the 3-on-3 format. Keller was one of several players who said the competitive level rose significantly in the final, especially in the second period from what it was in the first 2 games. Kreider said there were board battles and some physicality in the second game. Alex DeBrincat mentioned how the Metropolitan players packed it in defensively in the second period. And that was pretty much all there is to say on that. So, all in all, I thought it was a very good NHL All-Star weekend. Skills competition. I mean, I can't tell you how much I enjoy the skills competition. You guys know how much I love it. But this 3-on-3 has been, a little on the fun side of things, and it's especially fun when the Metropolitan Division wins. And the reason why I say it's a win for me and MF, I'm sure for those of you who may not have been watching our show for all this time, MF and I, our team is the New York Rangers, and they reside in the Metropolitan Division. Whereas Michael Bullock was rooting for the Atlantic Division because his team, the Boston Bruins, falls within the Atlantic Division. But the Met wins it. I couldn't have been happier. I said when I gave the word to MF was very pleased about it. So that's really all there is for me to say on this. Great All-Star weekend. Can't wait to see what happens next year in Florida. That ought to be interesting. So not much more for me to say. So MF, skills competition, fun as always. Those 2 new events, those two special Vegas style events were fun. But when it came to the All-Star Game, the right division won. Our division, the Met, we won it. about it, Don.
Yeah, no, this is you know, I gotta say, and if you really think about it, a lot of people were a little apprehensive. They didn't know what was going to happen, and you remember this actually wasn't going to happen initially. As you know, that the NHL players originally were going to be going to Beijing to do the Winter Olympics. That was all before the COVID thing was hitting, and there was a lot of unrest with the country, and not only the country but the world as we know it. Then there was the Omicron, COVID-19. There was a lot of nervousness, especially coming from the Players Association. This was one of those times where the Players Association were a little nervous about going to China. It has to be quarantined for 5 weeks, and on top of that, so they were like, they're gonna have to miss a lot of action, the whole 9 yards. And basically, the NHL is like, do you want to do it? Do you not want to do it? What are you feeling? And some of the players openly admitted they're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. This is not this year, not this time around. They've been pushing for the Olympics to go to the Olympics, but after everything that was pushed, they were like, nope, I don't want this. We'll do this in 4 years when it's in Milan and in Constantina. That's when they'll go back and they'll do the Olympic men's hockey tournament. So Anthony, just to let you know, 4 years from now, when they're in Milan, Italy, and doing it there, that's probably when you and I will probably be leaving to be doing the Olympic hockey coverage for the men's competition. So we're just gonna have to wait 4 more years, bro. That's all I can say about that. But regardless, this was an excellent All Star weekend. Vegas was a great host. And yeah, I mean, just to see them do that event at the Bellagio, that was awesome, man. I mean, the fountains of the Bellagio are world famous. They are huge. It's a big deal. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be heading back to Vegas for the NFL draft. And oh, by the way, they're going to be at the Bellagio in Vegas this year. They've already announced that they're going to do it over there, and yeah, so we're gonna get to see those world famous that world famous Bellagio and the whole 9 yards very soon. Actually, in April, we'll get to see the Bellagio decked out, but this time with some of the future stars of the National Football League when the 2022 draft goes down. So that's going to be excellent. I love the Vegas themed events that they did, especially the 21. I'm a blackjack guy. I love poker. I don't gamble. I will openly admit that I don't gamble, but I do like to play with my buddies just for junk and giggles, as we would say. I can't say the other words. PG show, but it is actually really good to have. It's cool to play. And yeah, so I felt comfortable with those two events. And then, like you said, fastest skater, one of my favorite events, the hardest shot, just to see some of these guys putting over triple digits, 100 mile an hour on a hockey puck, man. Good lord, man. There was some heat with some of that, man. So I was enjoying it. The game was excellent. I love the 3-on-3 format as well. I would like to see 4-on-4 though. I think it'd be more interesting. Have that open ice. Add an extra guy on the ice. 3-on-3 is fine. I like to see the 4-on-4 a little more. I think that'd be an excellent game. But like you said, Metro wins it, which is awesome. I was happy. Anthony did message me say the Metro wins the All-Star game. I was like, all right, way to go, guys. Let's go. So yeah, so very happy for that. Very happy for the Metropolitan Division. And yeah, upward and onward we go, ladies and germs. So Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good All-Star weekend overall in the NHL. I mean, like you said, this originally wasn't supposed to go down, like you said. I mean, with the Olympics, but when the Omicron variant basically spread like wildfire, the commissioner was saying, "Do you guys want to go?" And the same thing with the Players Association. The players were like, "Nope, we don't want to risk it. We don't want to have to basically quarantine for 5 weeks." So they said, "We'll wait another 4 years before we go there." And yeah, the skills competition is always something that's very entertaining. With the to see you got the fastest miles per hour and basically the two new events. I thought were pretty impressive. I didn't know what to make of it, but I actually enjoyed it. So, and then of course the to cap it off with the game itself. Yeah, I wanted the Atlantic Division to, but Metropolitan was the better team here. So yeah, so basically, it was a fun and eventful All-Star weekend, and of course, the season is already resumed. So now we're gonna wait and see what happens in the second half of the season. So nothing more to say, Florio. Let's move on.
And we move on to the NFL coaching carousel. Two new hires recently went down. Of course, some time ago we talked about the other hires, but two new hires came in. We were going to get into this last week, but unfortunately we couldn't because of my issue. But we'll start it off with good old MF and his Miami Dolphins. They have found their new man. The Dolphins agreed to a deal with San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel to make him their next head coach. The team announced that back on Sunday, February the 6th. The Dolphins gave McDaniel a 4-year contract, a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter. McDaniel's hiring marks the end of a nearly month-long search since the Dolphins fired Brian Flores on January 10th. Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore was the other finalist for the job. And in an effort to save time, we'll get into the other big hire, and that is the next day on Monday, February the 7th, the New Orleans Saints have hired defensive coordinator Dennis Allen as their next head coach. He replaces his longtime boss, Sean Payton, who stepped away earlier, about a month or so ago. This will be Allen's second stint as a head coach after he went 8-28 as coach of the then Oakland Raiders from 2012 to 2014. Saints also interviewed former NFL head coaches Brian Flores and Doug Peterson, Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, and their own special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi for the job. So that's the story there. So MF, Mike McDaniel becomes the newest head coach of your Miami Dolphins. So you, Eric Carrier, and the rest of your Dolphin family, are you guys encouraged or discouraged by this hire?
You know what? I gotta say, I feel like right now we're feeling pretty encouraged. If you've been watching his interviews and everything else, he's been saying all the right things. We're all so far so good. It's been really good. Not only did he establish a pretty good coaching staff, but the staff themselves, the Miami Dolphins coaching staff, is actually looking really good. Two former Miami Dolphins, Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain, is actually now coaches for the Miami Dolphins. Wes Welker, a former New England Patriot, is now a coach for the Miami Dolphins, as well as one of his assistants. So I think right now we're kind of looking at, with the way that the coaching staff has been reconstructed. We kept our defensive coordinator. We kept our defensive coaches, which was great because honestly and truthfully, the defense was very good last year, Anthony, and you know that very well. Offensively, we needed a new spark. We needed a new guy. We got when it comes to the Miami Dolphins coaching staff, let me see. Hold on. When it comes to the Dolphins coaching staff for 2022, look, Mike McDaniels is the new coach. We've already established that. And then once you get that, then you get Frank Smith as the offensive coordinator. You get Matt Appleblom as the line coach. But the one that I really love is Darrell Bevell. Darrell Bevell is going to be the quarterback's passing game coordinator. He is going to be the one to be hands-on with Tua Tagovailoa. And Darren Bevell worked with, was also an offensive guy. As a matter of fact, he was the interim head coach of Jacksonville. He worked with Trevor Lawrence after all that, like we say, drama and whatever you want to talk about last season. So we got Eric Studesville as the running back coach. Wes Welker's going to be working hands-on with the wide receivers. I mean, oh my God, Jamar! Are you kidding me? Jalen Waddle is going to be working with Wes Welker. I mean, how much more better can that be? Great Miami Dolphin, a Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. He's a really good, reliable receiver. He was a really good, reliable receiver. Defensively, Josh Boyer is going to be the defensive coordinator. I'm so happy about that. That was the one thing that I was a little concerned about, is what was going to happen with what is going to happen with Josh Boyer, because of the fact that this was the old regime. But like I said, a lot of the defensive guys are still going to be there for Miami, which is great. Cornerback coach is going to be Sam Madison. Oh my God, that's awesome. And defensive assistant is Patrick Surtain. I mean, what? I mean, if you're a Miami Dolphin fan right now, you're very excited. That's the coaching staff. That's good. That's great. Now I want to see what they do in free agency. As for New Orleans, Dennis Allen is the right guy, the perfect fit for the New Orleans Saints. He's been with the team for a number of years. He was a good defensive coordinator. He definitely helped out. And he was one of those guys that he's well respected in the NFL circles. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He is loved by the NFL community. Coaches respects the guy. Players love the fact that it's him. So I think right now, New Orleans will be fine. Now, there's going to be some discussions about defensive guys that you want to get during the offseason. Who's your quarterback going to be? What are you going to draft now? Of course, you got the Michael Thomas drama. Are you going to keep him? Are you going to dump him? So there's a lot going on in New Orleans that's definitely going to be working on for the upcoming season. Who's going to be your quarterback? Are you going to go back to Jameis Winston? Is it Taysom Hill? Where does that fall? So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be worked on. A lot of questions, especially with Miami. A lot of questions with New Orleans. But at least with two new head coaches and two guys who are easily becoming very likable in their own communities, Miami Dolphin fans was a little optimistic, cautiously optimistic, but the writing was on the wall for a number of days. I was hearing that it was going to be end up being Mike McDaniel for a number of weeks. They said Kellen Moore was there, but honestly, Dolphin fans did not want him. Don't get me wrong. Yes, he's a respectable guy, but I mean, for the culture, for the attitude, for what Dolphin fans want right now, even though there's a few who are really upset about Brian Flores being fired and getting let go after the season that they had. There was a lot of people saying, what is going on in Miami? But I kind of feel like the McDaniel move is kind of a softening of the blow. Now, if Miami can parlay this into a good off season with some good free agent signings and some help in the draft, that might reignite some of that excitement that Miami had going into last season. The expectations were very high for Miami, but I kind of feel like they lost their way with the success of New England, with the success of Buffalo, that I think a lot of people kind of felt like, Miami got left in the dust here. Well, now, maybe with the Mike McDaniel hire, but like I said, you got to continue it. This is a nice start, but you got to get better with the personnel. Get an O-line guys, get a receiver, get some running backs. I've been hearing rumors of some 49er guys coming over to Miami, especially O-line, and maybe Raheem Mostert possibly going to Miami. Whoa, if we get Raheem Mostert, hello. Welcome to the party. So we're going to have to wait and see. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours, man.
Yeah, I mean the hire of Mike McDaniel. I mean this is going to be something. I mean, and the coaching staff that they do have. I mean, yeah, this is a cause for some potential excitement for the Miami Dolphins, but you got to see how they do in free agency, in the draft. I mean, all those things have got to come into play. I mean, yes, I mean, I like what I've seen from them so far, but they got to do more in the off season. Because remember, they weren't doing good at the beginning of the season. They finished on a nice long win streak before losing at the end. So there's a lot of high expectations for the Dolphins, but will it mean postseason for them? But we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Dennis Allen for the Saints, I mean, that's going to be something to see. I mean, because he did not have that much success over there with the then Oakland Raiders as the coach. So, yeah, so this is going to be very interesting to see what happens here. I mean, because Dennis Allen's definitely got some huge shoes to fill, and when it comes to filling Sean Payton's shoes. So, will he succeed? Only time will tell. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yep. Just give me 1 second here. All right. McDaniel gets his first head coaching job at any level after spending 15 seasons in the NFL and 2 in the UFL. He spent 1 season as San Francisco's offensive coordinator after being promoted in January of 2021. In that season, the 49ers had the league's 7th best offense in terms of yards per game and produced an all-pro in wide receiver Deebo Samuel. McDaniel began his NFL career as an intern for the Denver Broncos in 2005, then spent 3 seasons as an offensive assistant with the Houston Texans under Gary Kubiak. He spent another 3 seasons as an offensive assistant and a wide receivers coach for Washington on a staff that included current head coaches Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers, Sean McVay of the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, and Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers. McDaniel followed Shanahan, at the time an offensive coordinator, to a one-year stint with the Cleveland Browns, where he was a wide receivers coach. Then spent 2 years with the Atlanta Falcons. Whoop, I got to pop a video here. Okay, I think I stopped it. All right. Wide receivers coach with Cleveland, then spent 2 years with the Atlanta Falcons, where he was an offensive assistant. Shanahan became the 49ers head coach in 2017 and hired McDaniel as the run game coordinator before promoting him to offensive coordinator last offseason. In McDaniel's 5 seasons in San Francisco, the offense has ranked 11th in rushing yards with the 5th highest percentage of runs that pick up 10 or more yards. McDaniel will become the Dolphins' 11th head coach, interim or otherwise, since 2000, after they employed just 3 head coaches in their 34 previous years of existence. They fired Brian Flores after he went 24-25 in 3 seasons, including 2 of the franchise's 7 winning seasons this century. As for Dennis Allen, he was considered the candidate to beat since he has been so successful as New Orleans defensive coordinator, and since the franchise wasn't looking for an overhaul after posting the NFL's second-best regular season record over the last 5 years. New Orleans' defense has morphed into the strength of the team in recent years, ranking 4th in the NFL in both yards allowed and points allowed over the last 3 seasons, according to ESPN Stats and Information Research. Oh, got caught. All right. Allen also replaced Peyton for 1 game in 2021 when he was sidelined by COVID-19, and the Saints won that game 9-0 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was the first time Tom Brady had been shut out since 2006. It's unclear how much of the Saints coaching staff will be retained, though that may have been a factor in Allen's hiring. Offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael Jr. and Rizzi are among several high-valued assistants on the current staff. The Saints are banking that Allen will have more success in his second stint as a head coach. And in fact, owner Mickey Loomis said he considers it a positive that Allen has the experience to learn from. Allen now becomes the 11th full-time coach in Saints history and the 17th, including interim coaches. He was a member of Sean Payton's original coaching staff in 2006 as an assistant defensive line coach and served as secondary coach when the 2009 Saints won the Super Bowl. Allen left to become the Denver Broncos defensive coordinator in 2011 and the Raiders head coach from 2012 to 2014, but he was fired 4 games into that last season and rejoined the Saints as a senior defensive assistant in 2015. Allen became New Orleans defensive coordinator later in 2015 after Rob Ryan was fired, and he has held the role ever since, gradually helping to transform a unit that ranked 32nd in points allowed and 31st in yards allowed during that 2015 season. The Raiders were in a bit of a rebuilding mode when Allen took over, partly because of salary cap constraints, but the team was not showing signs of progress when he was fired after an 0-4 start in 2014. They also lost the final 6 games of the 2013 season for a 10-game losing streak overall. Unfortunately for Allen, he didn't get to enjoy the fruits of his final draft class with the team in 2014, which featured all-pro edge rusher Khalil Mack and quarterback Derek Carr. However, Allen has insisted that his experience helped to make him a better coach. Allen played safety at Texas A&M, then began his coaching career as an assistant with Texas A&M, Tulsa, and the Atlanta Falcons before joining the Saints. His father, Grady Allen, played in the NFL for 5 years as a linebacker with the Atlanta Falcons. So with that, we wish both coaches, we wish them the best in their new endeavors, especially for MF and the Miami Dolphins. I know the last few years have not gone to your liking, but that is a hell of a coaching staff you got there. So I would be encouraged too if I were a Dolphin fan. But who knows? Maybe they'll make another run. You never know. Maybe they'll give it a go in the AFC East to challenge the likes of the odds-on favorite, of course, Buffalo, who is one of the odds-on favorites to win it all next year. But we'll get into that another day. But nonetheless, I don't know about Allen in New Orleans. We'll have to wait and see. But we wish him the best. So with all that being said, let's move on to the NBA. We have a couple of trade. We got some blockbuster trades that went down back on February the 10th. And first up, the Brooklyn Nets traded James Harden and Paul Millsap to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and two first-round picks. And then the Boston Celtics, they acquired Derek White. They traded Josh Richardson in a first-round pick to San Antonio for Derek White. And then also the Sacramento Kings traded Bagley they traded Marvin Bagley to the Detroit Pistons in a 14 deal. As part of the agreement, the Kings are reportedly acquiring Dante DiVincenzo from the Milwaukee Bucks, while the LA Clippers are sending big man Serge Ibaka to Milwaukee. And this is how the full trade breaks down in this regard. The Kings received Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Jackson, and Trey Lyles. The Bucks received Serge Ibaka, 2 future second-round picks in cash. The Clippers received Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye, and the Pistons received Marvin Bagley. So with all that, Michael Bullock, what do you make of all those trades, especially that trade for your Celtics?
Yeah, I mean the trade for the Celtics, I mean, is so far, I mean, it's worked out for them up to this point, because you see the Celtics, they've been playing very well as of late, especially tonight with them being the Brooklyn Nets, and then of course with the Brooklyn Nets, I mean with the trade of James Harden to the Sixers for Ben Simmons. I mean, this I'm going to be interested to see how it all goes, because, I mean, once upon a time, I mean, the Brooklyn Nets looked like a powerhouse team in the Eastern Conference, and look at where they are now. And now you got Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving, two guys, let's just say, and to use a phrase, Anthony Florio, their egos are so big, they need their own zip code. Especially with Irving, with his whole deciding not to get vaccinated, and that's why he can't play in any of the home games. And of course, Kevin Durant is out right now, and so yeah, I mean, a very interesting trade deadline. But yeah, I mean this. So Florio, as I give it to you, the Brooklyn Nets were once one of the powerhouse teams in the Eastern Conference. Now, not so much.
Oh no, it's a classic case of how the mighty have fallen. That's all there is to say on that. And we thought they were going to be, one of those top teams in the Eastern Conference, and we thought maybe they were going to be the team to beat, maybe give Milwaukee a run. But boy, howdy, have they! Wow, you want to talk about a free fall? Unbelievable. But the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers, they agreed to a blockbuster deal just hours before the trade deadline, with James Harden and Paul Millsap going to Philly, and Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round draft picks going to Brooklyn. Brooklyn will receive Philadelphia's unprotected 2022 first-round pick with the right to defer to 2023, as well as the top 8 protected 2027 first-round pick. Sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. That pick will remain top 8 protected in 2028 and will turn into 2 second-round picks and $2 million in cash if it doesn't convey in either season, sources said. The Nets also announced they are waiving DeAndre Bembry to create roster room for the trade. The deal allows both teams to move on from unhappy superstars who have been seeking trades. For Philadelphia, it means the end of what has been a months-long saga surrounding Simmons, who asked to be traded shortly after the Sixers lost to the Atlanta Hawks in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs last season. Outside of a brief cameo at practice in mid-October in the middle of training camp, Simmons hasn't been around the team since and has not played in the game this season. Sources told ESPN's Ramona Shelburne that Simmons will continue to work with his therapist to get mentally ready to play in Brooklyn. Simmons has already talked to Nets star Kevin Durant and general manager Sean Marks. His agent Rich Paul told Wojnarowski Simmons is eager to join the Nets and ramp up for a return to play this season. While Nets head coach Steve Nash couldn't speak specifically about the trade yet, given that it hadn't become official, he did acknowledge an air of relief for his team that the deadline finally passed after all the speculation that hung over the organization. The relationship between Harden and the Nets, meanwhile, broke down in recent days, with sources telling Wojnarowski that Harden had declined to formally ask for a trade, fearing the backlash of doing so for the second time in a little more than a year. But after the Nets traded 4 first-round picks and 3 swaps plus center Jarrett Allen and Karis LeVert a little over a year ago, after Harden forced his way out of Houston following 8+ seasons with the Rockets, the former league MVP is now on his way again. Harden has exercised his $47.4 million player option for the 2022-23 season as part of the trade, a source confirmed to ESPN's Bobby Marks. The 10-time All-Star is eligible to sign a 4-year, $223 million extension with Philadelphia in August. That team will now include Harden and Millsap, but will not include Simmons or Curry, who also happens to be Doc Rivers' son-in-law. Curry is averaging 15 points and 4 assists while shooting 40% from three-point range and has developed strong chemistry with Philadelphia superstar Joel Embiid. But that wasn't enough to prevent a deal from taking place. The inclusion of Curry allows the 76ers to retain their 2 premium young players, guard Tyrese Maxey and third-round forward Matisse Thybulle. Drummond will give Brooklyn some additional size inside, something that the Nets have lacked this season. And I'll tell you what, with Brooklyn, yeah, you want to talk about a free fall. Like I said, unbelievable what's been going on with them. No question about it. And I think that Harden thing definitely hurt them without a doubt. Especially in the odds. But we'll get into that in just a moment. But yeah, Brooklyn sources told Wojnarowski continues to be engaged on deals ahead of the deadline as it continues to reshape its roster. Philadelphia, meanwhile, can finally move forward with the Simmons situation behind it, and with Harden reunited with 76ers president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, who traded for him in Houston. The Nets remain the consensus favorites to win the NBA title after the trade. Caesars Sportsbook kept the Nets at 4-1 to win the championship, while shortening the 76ers from 12-1 to 7-1. Other odds makers, however, dropped Brooklyn back in their NBA title odds. The Superbook at Westgate, Las Vegas, moved the Nets from 6-1 to 10-1 on February 10th. Superbook has the Golden State Warriors and Phoenix Suns as co-favorites to win the title, each at 9-2. The 76ers and Milwaukee Bucks are next, each at 6-1. The Nets are the favorites at the majority of sports books. 76ers sat 3 games out of first in the East, and Rivers said that was a credit to his players for how they've handled everything that has happened. Where they are at it is with Harden and without the future of Simmons hanging over them. As for the Celtics, they traded Josh Richardson in the first-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs for Derek White, sources told Yahoo Sports' Chris Haynes. The draft selection is for 2022 and top 4 protected, ESPN's Zach Lowe reported. The Spurs will also have the right to swap first-round picks with the Celtics in 2028. Boston is also sending former first-round pick Romeo Langford to San Antonio. White is in the first season of a 4-year, $70 million contract. He's averaging 14.4 points, 5.6 assists, 3.5 boards, and 1 steal over 49 appearances this season. Richardson is set to become an unrestricted free agent at season's end. He's registering 9.7 points a contest and shooting 39.7% from deep. Langford has spent his first 3 NBA campaigns with the Celtics, averaging 3.6 points in 14.7 minutes over 94 appearances. And then the Sacramento Kings traded forward Marvin Bagley to the Detroit Pistons in that 14 deal. And rumors have long linked Detroit with a move for Bagley. Sacramento reportedly offered the forward last winter in exchange for Saddiq Bey, but the Pistons turned down the offer. Bagley has struggled to fulfill expectations in Sacramento since the big man was drafted second overall in 2018. The Duke product averaged 14.5 points and shot 50% from the floor through his first 3 seasons, but is down to 9.3 points a game on 46.3% shooting in his 4th year. Milwaukee reportedly also discussed DiVincenzo in trade talks with the Boston Celtics in a deal that would have sent guard Dennis Schroeder to the Bucks. DiVincenzo was in the final guaranteed year of his rookie deal after Milwaukee opted not to sign into an extension last summer. His contract contains a $6.6 million qualifying offer for the 2022-23 season, courtesy of Spot Track. Ibaka, meanwhile, returns to the Eastern Conference where he helped the Toronto Raptors win the 2019 championship. A back issue limited him to just 76 contests over 2 campaigns with the Clippers. The 32-year-old center has played in 35 games this year, making 10 starts and averaging 6.6 points and 4.3 rebounds and 1 assist. So, very interesting stuff indeed. So, wish everybody the best in their new homes. So, MF, in the grand scheme of things, how do you see these trades all playing out?
In the grand scheme of things, it's going to be very interesting. I think the biggest one that we need to talk about is the Harden and Simmons, the Sixers and the Nets and what they did. I think it's going to be an interesting pickup. I think it was definitely a major move. We have a lot of all-stars and a lot of great players. Plus, the draft picks will also be very interesting to see how it plays out. And then you also one that kind of was lost in the shuffle but needs to be addressed also was Kristaps Porzingis going to the Washington Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dennis Bertans. I think that's going to be an interesting trade more than anything else. Look, Porzingis was really good for the Mavs as a 1-2 punch with Luka Doncic. Now I kind of feel like, with them split it up, I don't know how that's going to play out. Of course, Derek White going to Boston was a major pickup. I know a lot of people weren't really happy because they got rid of Josh Richardson. They got rid of Romeo Langford. And then, of course, after that, that was also the same in that same trading deadline that got a lot of people upset with Boston was because they got rid of Dennis Schroeder and at the time, Enes Freedom or Enes Kanter as we know him. Of course, Anthony, the big one, but the biggest trade I think we gotta talk about is the 4-team trade. The one with the Bucks, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Pistons. That was the biggest trade of them all. I think that's going to have major repercussions. Of course, Milwaukee trying to, keep their foot getting Serge Ibaka. I mean, that's a monster player, a big guy to get. He could play the 4 or the 5, and that's going to be somebody that could also help with Giannis as it pertains to, them making a deep run and possibly trying to successfully defend their world championship. So, there was a lot of great trades, and on to the second half of the season we go because tonight was opening night for the second half of the NBA season. So, Anthony, it is yours.
All right. And with that being said, we move on to a very special double main event here this evening. And we move on to, of course, the Super Bowl. Well, before we get to that, the big event that went down before Super Bowl 56, it was NFL Honors, the show that went down 2 weeks ago on ABC. They aired it on a Thursday night. I was honestly not too thrilled about that because I was always so used to watching it the night before the Super Bowl. But I'm guessing the Winter Olympics probably had something to do with that. That's my guess. But anyways, Keegan Michael Key was the host, and with all that, let's get into the awards in no particular order. MVP went to Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. Offensive Player of the Year went to Cooper Kupp of the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase from the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Defensive Rookie of the Year was Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow, also from the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Coach of the Year went to Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans, Bullock's old friend. Moment of the Year went to Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal to defeat the Detroit Lions. And the most prestigious award of them all, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award, went to Andrew Whitworth, also from the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. The biggest award every year when it comes to the NFL honors is the league MVP. And this season's race essentially came down to Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. While Brady has 7 rings to Rodgers 1 and retired this offseason as the unquestioned greatest of all time, the Green Bay Packers signal caller has bragging rights when it comes to MVPs. Rodgers took home his 4th, putting him 1 ahead of Brady. However, the argument could be made that Brady, who led the league with 5,316 passing yards and 43 touchdown passes, deserved the award. But Rodgers had just 4 interceptions to Brady's 12 and led the Packers to the number 1 seed in the NFC with a 13-3 record in games he started. So that was all right. I did forget one other thing, and that is the 2022 Pro Football Hall of Fame class. And let me quickly get into that because that was also a part of the NFL honors. Tony Baselli, Cliff Branch, Leroy Butler, Art McNally, Sam Mills, the late Sam Mills, Bullock's old friend Richard Seymour, Dick Vermeil, and Bryant Young. The Pro Football Hall of Fame Enshrinement Week, powered by Johnson Controls, a multi-day celebration of the enshrinement of the newest Hall of Fame class, is held each year in Canton, Ohio. Baselli, all of the inductees will be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday night, August 6th, and the ceremony will be nationally televised on both the NFL Network and ESPN. And that Hall of Fame Enshrinement Week, powered by Johnson Controls, kicks off the NFL's 103rd season with the annual Hall of Fame game on Thursday, August 4th. Other major events complementing the enshrinees Gold Jacket ceremony on Friday, August 5th, and the enshrinees Roundtable on Sunday, August 7th. So that's all I can say on that. Now, as far as the rest of the awards go, alas, both quarterbacks, Rodgers and Brady, they fell short in the NFC playoffs, and Matthew Stafford's Rams went on to win the Super Bowl and all that. While Jamar Chase took home Offensive Rookie of the Year, teammate Joe Burrow won Comeback Player of the Year, and Cooper Kupp captured the Offensive Player of the Year. The defensive players had their moments in the spotlight as well. There was an emotional moment when J.J. Watt presented his brother T.J. with the Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons also took away some of the drama from the evening by winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year in unanimous fashion. Outside of the MVP, it all built toward the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and Andrew Whitworth took home the award for far more than his ability to block for the Rams. He launched his Big Wit Homes for LA Families program in 2021, which sees him donate $20,000 following each home game to help provide affordable housing and home repairs in Louisiana and Los Angeles. Now, when it comes to the NFL MVP award, Aaron Rodgers had 39 votes, Tom Brady had 10, and Cooper Kupp only got 1 vote. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt had 42 votes, Micah Parsons had 5, and Aaron Donald had 3. Jamar Chase, Rookie of the Year, had 42 votes. Bullock's boy, Mac Jones, finished with 5 votes. Creed Humphrey finished with 2 votes. And Rashawn Slater had 1 vote. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow had 28 votes. Close second was Dak Prescott with 21 votes. And Derwin James with 1 vote. Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp, 35 votes. Jonathan Taylor had 10. Tom Brady had 3. Aaron Rodgers had 2. Why Josh Allen was not on that list is beyond me, but that's another story. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, had 36 votes. Matt LaFleur had 8. Rich Bisaccia, the interim coach of the Vegas Raiders who took over after the whole Gruden thing blew up, had 3. Zach Taylor had 2, and Bill Belichick had only 1. And then we talked about the Hall of Fame, and while much of that NFL Honors broadcast focused on the best moments and players of the 2021 season, the 8 new Hall of Famers were immortalized in football history, and they will eventually be joined in Canton, Ohio by some of the players who were recognized in this year's award shows, including the MVP and Rodgers. And our heartfelt congratulations to Leroy Butler, Bryant Young, Sam Mills, Cliff Branch, Richard Seymour, Art McNally, Tony Baselli, and Dick Vermeil, and they will take center stage at this year's induction ceremony on Saturday night, August the 6th, just right around the time of my birthday. So always a great little early birthday gift for me, when I get to enjoy the Hall of Fame ceremony. I mean, last year's was very tough because it was a 2-night event because of COVID, obviously, but I'm glad it'll be back to normal this year. So we congratulate all the winners, and we also congratulate all of the inductees into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Well deserved, and we can't wait to see you take your rightful place. And then from there, it all led to Super Bowl 56, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, on NBC, and it was the Los Angeles Rams knocking off the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. And it was Matthew Stafford who went 26 of 40 for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Running game did nothing. Cam Akers led the team with just 21 yards rushing on 13 carries. Cooper Kupp was voted MVP, 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns for him. Odell Beckham Jr. had a touchdown, 52 yards on 2 catches. And defense, MF called it. The defense was unbelievable as well. They recorded 7 sacks. They sacked Joe Burrow 7 times, including Aaron Donald with 2. Von Miller had 2. Leonard Floyd, A'Shawn Robinson, and Ernest Jones had 1 apiece. And that's all there is to, and those were the notable numbers from the Rams side. For the Bengals side, Joe Burrow, 22 of 33, 263 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Joe Mixon threw a touchdown pass. We saw the Cincy special, their little ode to the Philly special that we saw in 52. Mixon also led the team in rushing with 72 yards on 15 carries. T. Higgins, you easily could have made an argument for MVP if had the Bengals won. 4 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Jamar Chase, 89 yards on 5 catches. Tyler Boyd, 48 yards on 5 catches. Defense did record 2 interceptions, and they also had 2 sacks of Matthew Stafford. Trey Hendrickson and DJ Reader had the sacks. And I'll tell you what, it was a very exciting game. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals nearly pulled it out, but nonetheless, we congratulate the Los Angeles Rams. 2nd Super Bowl championship in Rams franchise history. The other, of course, was with the St. Louis Rams in Super Bowl 34 when they knocked off the Tennessee Titans 23-16 in Atlanta. But 2nd year in a row, the home cooking never tasted so good, even though they were the road team in this case. but they got it done. They won it all, and rumors running rampant that Aaron Donald was possibly going to retire, but we'll have to wait and see. He has now restated that if they keep this team together, he's considering coming back for another year, and that'll make the Rams most definitely one of the favorites to come out of it again. And second straight year, the home team wins the Super Bowl. I mean, we saw it with the Bucs in Tampa last year, and when the Rams do it in SoFi this year, and the tune of 101.1 million viewers, according to MF, and the NFL, and as seen on the NFL Network, announced their top 10 games of this past season, and this game came in at number 6. This game came in at number 6. There were only 5 games that were better than this one. And looking at that top 10 list, a great majority of these games MF and I had. I mean, there was that Buffalo Tampa Bay game that came in at number 10. And then, the AFC Championship game was also in there. The Super Bowl was in there. The Chiefs and Chargers Thursday night game. And of course, what game came in at number 1? Gee, I wonder. Oh yeah. The greatest playoff game you will ever see in any round of the playoffs, regardless of what round, even greater than a Super Bowl. The AFC divisional playoff between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, the Charger-Raider game from Week 18, that winner-take-all game on that Sunday night in Week 18, the final game of the regular season. That actually came in at number 2. So I want to say at least 6 or 7 of those games in the top 10, MF and I had them. And that just goes to show what a great year it was. I mean, MF and I got blessed with so many incredible games, and I'm hopeful that will carry over into next year. So yeah, congratulations to all the winners of NFL honors, and of course, most importantly, to the Los Angeles Rams. Every team, every major professional sports team in Los Angeles, with the exception of the Clippers, have now won a championship. The Lakers, I believe, have 17 NBA championships. The Dodgers, multiple World Series for them. The LA Kings, of course, with their 2 Stanley Cups, and now the Rams now bring a Super Bowl to Los Angeles. So now they just need the Clippers to bring home an NBA championship, which, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't ever see happening. So that's all there is to say on that. So I cannot wait for next NFL season. We miss it already. These next 6 months or 7 months or so of Sundays without football are going to be hard labor, but don't worry, we'll get through it. Time goes by fast nowadays, and before you know it, we'll be ready for another great season of NFL football. And probably around April or May or so, we can start getting. Of course, we'll have our NFL draft, our annual NFL draft recap, and of course, our annual NFL schedule release special. The only thing we know for sure is that the LA Rams are going to have that first game. Question is, who's that game going to be against? I mean, there are a few worthy opponents that I have thought of. The most likely, I think, is the San Francisco 49ers for an NFC Championship rematch. That's very possible. The Arizona Cardinals, another worthy candidate. And 2 other candidates to keep an eye on, the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills. So, and I'll say it like this. And MF, I hope you agree with me on this. If somehow, some way it ends up being Buffalo, we got to do that game.
I mean, I could see that, yeah, because technically it would be an AFC matchup. It would be a game that would be shown on CBS if Buffalo gets it. So yeah, I would consider it. Yes.
But if it's not Buffalo, then obviously we'll let it go. But nonetheless, but MF though, while I have you here, like I said, congrats to all the winners from NFL Honors, the Hall of Fame inductees, the Rams for winning the Super Bowl, first in Los Angeles, and that NFL top 10 games list, like I said, MF, I believe 6 or 7 of those games were games we did. And all I can say is it may be the best season we've ever had. I mean, especially the last 2 months. I mean, starting with that Buffalo-Tampa game and going all the way to the Super Bowl. I think we had like 5 or 6 OT games and all those 5-star classics. And it's a wonder I even have a voice left after all
that. Yeah, absolutely. It was an incredible NFL season. There's no doubt about it. When it comes to the NFL honors and everything else that happened, yeah, I mean, there wasn't really that many surprises here. Jamar Chase getting the Rookie of the Year. Defensive player did go to T.J. Watt. The moment of the year, I definitely believe was definitely the moment of the year. Yeah, I just got interrupted by a stupid pop-up from NFL. Thank you very much. Then you got Cooper Kupp, the Offensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons. I'm actually shocked that he got Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm not surprised with that one. And as far as the Hall of Fame, look, Tony Baselli deserves it. Leroy Butler deserves it. Richard Seymour, yes. Dick Vermeil, absolutely. I cannot believe Vermeil finally got in. What were they thinking, holding this guy out of the Hall of Fame after all these years? That's absolutely almost downright criminal in my mind. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow, yes, deserves it after he tore his ACL last year. And then of course, the big one, the NFL Man of the Year. I think we all can agree the right man won it. For us to see that happen, at the end of the day, for Andrew Whitworth to get it, I mean, you saw the honor, you saw what he did, you saw how incredible as he is, what a great humanitarian he is. I wish him nothing but the best in his retirement, because he actually did retire after the game, after the Super Bowl. And then, and then most valuable player, Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, no big surprise. And then, of course, Coach of the Year going to Mike Vrabel. And why not? I mean, the Tennessee Titans were the number 1 team in the AFC going into the postseason. So, I mean, they had the best record going through the AFC playoffs. So, obviously, they deserve it. And then the FedEx Ground and Air Players of the Year, Tom Brady and Jonathan Taylor. It would have been Derrick Henry if he did not get hurt. Derrick Henry was well on his way to another 2,000-yard season. He could have been MVP if he did not get hurt. If he didn't get hurt, he's probably looking at being MVP. But, it is what it is. As far as the Super Bowl goes, great game, great battle. Anthony, Mike Bullock, it was an honor to do the game with you this year, as always. Can't wait for next year being in Arizona, as it's going to be, I believe we're going to Arizona next year for the Super Bowl. So can't wait to do that as usual. But it was a great game. It was better than last year. It was a little more thrilling, a little more exciting, down to the wire. Hey, we got a touchdown with a minute left. Anthony Florio, my ears are still ringing after that touchdown call. I'll say that. But no, it was awesome. Really nothing more to add. And yeah, so onward we go. Hey, Mike Bullock is yours.
How bad were your ears ringing after that Buffalo-Kansas City game?
Oh my God. Yeah, I was definitely hurting.
All right, Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL honors, I mean, what can you say? I mean, the awards, like you said, guys. I mean, I'm not surprised with some of the awards. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers being named the MVP. Of course, Mike Vrabel being named the coach of the year. T.J. Watt, I mean, being the defensive player of the year. Jamar Chase, the offensive rookie of the year. Um, yeah, Cooper Kupp, the offensive player of the year. I mean, and of course the announcement of the Hall of Fame inductees. I mean, I'm glad Richard Seymour's going in, but I'm also glad for Dick Vermeil that he's going to be going in. So yeah, the awards really don't surprise me, and then the Super Bowl. I mean, what can you say? I mean, what a game that was. I mean, there were times it looked like the Rams were going to be too much for the Bengals, but the Bengals somehow they hung with them. At one point, took the lead, but the Rams and that offense really came through at the end and bringing just the second title in franchise history. Of course, they were then known as the St. Louis Rams at the time. So, and Cooper Kupp being named the most valuable player of the Super Bowl with his 2 touchdown receptions, 98 yards receiving. So, yeah, and if Aaron Donald did say that if they keep this team together, he'll be back. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's move on, Florio.
And we move on to the main event of the other half of our double main event. That being what happened last weekend, the 2022 NBA All-Star festivities. Starting, of course, with my favorite part of it. We don't really talk about the rookie game and all that. We usually only talk about All-Star Saturday night and the All-Star game. And we started off with NBA All-Star Saturday night. By the way, the festivities were held at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the Cavaliers, and it started it off with a newly revamped Taco Bell Skills Challenge. Now, we remember the Taco Bell Skills Challenge used to be, I believe, like 8 competitors in a single elimination tournament format, which I kind of liked, but they revamped it with a 3 teams of 3 competition, which included 3 rookies, all 3 Antetokounmpo brothers, and 3 members of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland hosted All-Star Saturday night, including the infamous dunk contest, 3-point contest, and a skills challenge involving rookies, Cavaliers, and the Antetokounmpo brothers. After a thrilling celebrity all-star game and the rookies and sophomores of the league taking part in the Rising Stars game, the skills competition was the main event Saturday before the all-star game where Team LeBron took on Team Durant. Here are the complete results. Taco Bell Skills Challenge. You had the 3 Antetokounmpo brothers, Giannis, Alex, and Thanasis. For the rookies, you had Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors, Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons, and Josh Giddey of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And for the 3 Cleveland Cavaliers, you had Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley. When all was said and done, the winners of the event was Team Cavs. Team Cavs, they did it. And at first, I wasn't too crazy about the idea, but I gave it a look, and I'll tell you what, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, first round, each player from all 3 teams had 30 seconds to shoot from 5 different spots, and players were not able to repeat the same shot consecutively. Each spot had different values, ranging from 1 through 5 points, and the scores from each individual player were to be added to determine the team's score. The winning team got 100 challenge points. Then they had a passing challenge where players were given 30 seconds to complete passes into 3 oversized moving targets, with each varying in size and distance from where the players were standing. Each team was required to make at least 1 pass attempt at each target, and individual players could not make consecutive passes at the same target. Each target had different point values, 2, 4, or 6 points. 100 challenge points went to that team. And then the third round, they took part in the timed relay. And in the final round, every player from the top 2 teams had to hit a half-court shot. And it was Team Cavs who got it done. Team Cavs won the shooting portion. Team Antetokounmpo won the passing. Team Rookies won the relay. And then Team Cavs won the half-court shot. The legendary 3-point shootout for the Mountain Dew. 8 players competed in that second event. 3 competitors with the highest scores advanced to the championship round. And those 3 were Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, and Patty Mills of Luke Kennard of the LA Clippers at 28, and Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks each at 22. And then in the final round, it was Karl Anthony Towns setting a new final round record with 29 points, defeating Luke Kennard and Trae Young, who each had 26, to win the 3-point shootout. And then in the slam dunk contest, it was Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks defeating Juan Toscano Anderson of the Golden State Warriors in the final. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Taco Bell Skills Challenge was great. The 3-point shootout was great. Dunk contest? Dud. Sorry. Worst dunk contest ever. So boring. I can't tell you how bored to tears that I was about that. I could not wait for that to be over. And when it was over, I was like, hallelujah, thank you, Lord. So, yeah, they definitely need to do something with that next year. No doubt about that. Now, as far as the All-Star game is concerned, second time in 3 years after that thriller we had in Chicago a couple years ago, we had another thriller. And it was Team LeBron who defeated Team Durant by a score of 163 to 160. And how fitting it was that LeBron James won the game for his team in his old house of Cleveland. And the MVP honors went to Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors. 50 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Set a record for the most threes in an All-Star game. Giannis Antetokounmpo added 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. LeBron James, 24 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. Garland had 13. Allen had 10. Nikola Jokic had 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. And what a performance. And then from there, Team Durant, Joel Embiid was the leading scorer, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Devin Booker had 20. And to go with 5 rebounds and 2 assists. LaMelo Ball, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. DeJounte Murray, 17 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Our boy Zach LaVine from Chicago, 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Bullock's boy Jason Tatum, 8 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. And what a thrilling All-Star game, to say the very least. Stephen Curry, well-deserved for the MVP. So that's all the schematics. I apologize for going over there, but MF, I've broken it all down. What a great NBA All-Star weekend. And I mean, the game was one thing, but the All-Star Saturday night, I mean, MF, what about that newly revamped Taco Bell Skills Challenge, going from the single elimination tournament format to that 3-team-of-3 format? And then the 3-point shootout was amazing. But, oh, my God, that dunk contest was so painfully boring.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they got to do something with that one. I mean, the slam dunk. Look, couple of years now, it hasn't been that great. It just needs a revamp. I don't know what's going on. They just need to do something with it. At the end of the day, they'll figure it out. They'll get it right. You will hope. 3-point shootout was amazing. The skills competition, absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed it more than anything else. So yeah, I thought the revamp definitely worked, and it did a lot more better than we thought. And as far as anything else goes, nah. I mean, and then the All-Star game itself was an incredible game. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a great night, a great couple of days of basketball, and not only that, but then to see at halftime the 75, um, the 75 greatest players
Yes.
on the court
Yes.
at the same time. I mean, what a moment. I mean,
that was better than the dunk contest. That was better than the dunk contest alone.
Absolutely. It was a who's who of the greatest players in NBA history. And I was marveling at some of the names that got on the list. Now, there was some debates about some guys who should have been off the list, some guys who made it. There was a debate about it, no doubt. But just to hear some of those names and to even see some of those names, it was without a doubt, for me, that was the best moment of the All-Star weekend, seeing the 75 greatest players in that building, at the queue, just there. And oh my God. I mean, I was like, wow. So yeah, great All-Star weekend. Perfect way to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the NBA. And there's really nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the skills competition. Yeah, I mean, the revamped way it was done. I mean, I was interested to see how it goes, and I really thought it turned out to be a really good one. I mean, obviously with the Cavs team of 3 that ended up winning the event, and then of course the 3-point competition. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns winning that one, and that turned out to be a really good one. But that dunk contest was so putrid. I mean, it was horrible, and it was to the point, like, I was with you, Flora. I was so looking forward to it ending because that was just so painful. And I mean, these last few dunk contests has just been horrible, and the NBA really needs to do something to fix this. Otherwise, if this continues, I'm sorry to say this, guys, but they need to get rid of the damn thing. If this continues, I mean, I don't know how much more that we as fans can take any of this. So, yeah. So, and then the All-Star game. I mean, like you said, I mean, I thought it was a good one. I mean, Steph Curry, no doubt, was the right choice for the All-Star game MVP. And then, of course, the 75 best players in NBA history. I mean, just to see them on the court, I mean, it's a chance to honor those. And yeah, I mean, that was just a great moment there to see all those players on the court. So yeah, I mean, a good All-Star weekend. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, it is yours.
And that will put yes, and like I said, it was a fantastic All-Star weekend, and boy, am I a dum-dum forgetting about that 75th anniversary celebration at halftime. With the exception of Tiffany Haddish, who I can't stand, to be honest with you. That everything else about that was fantastic. That was easily a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. Would have been a perfect 10, but the reasoning behind that. So I'm not going to go further into detail. But anyways, the All-Star game was amazing, and like I said, I wasn't too crazy about that team format at first, but then the more it progressed, the more I was starting to slowly get into it. And, I got a feeling that's probably going to stick around next year. 3-point shootout, I mean, that was just amazing. And I would love it if they switched the order around, because if I'm going to be honest with you, I know they like to do the dunk contest as the main event of that, but I would love to see the 3-point shootout be the main event, because that's the most exciting part of it. And
there's been a few years, if I remember, where the 3-point shootout was the main event. If I remember correctly, I know there was a couple of years I think it was in like the 2000s where the 3-point shootout was the main event of the All-Star weekend, if I remember correctly.
Well, we'll have to definitely look into that at some point, but nonetheless, though, great All-Star weekend, and it was a lot of fun as always, and we couldn't really enjoy it much last year because of the restrictions, but well, it's on to Salt Lake City, Utah. The weekend of February 18th and 19th, 2023, from the Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I believe this will be the second installment that they've ever had there. I mean, it'll mark 30 years, because the 1993 game was actually in that venue. So that announcement, they announced that back on October 23rd of 19. So it'll be simulcast on TNT and TBS. So just as it was this year. And then the 2024 game will be in Indianapolis. First time since 1985, when it was at the then Hoosier/RCA Dome. So that's going to be fun. So, and then we'll see after that. So great weekend, great All-Star weekend. Can't wait to do it again next year in Salt Lake City. So with that will put the bow on this edition on this season premiere, if you will, of our regulation editions of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 11 p.m. MF, Braves Fan 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday Night SmackDown, their fallout from the Elimination Chamber, continue the road to WrestleMania, obviously, and of course AEW Rampage on the road to Revolution. And then we'll be back with you on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, right back here on the Tone 25, Monday Night Raw. And I'll give you my thoughts on Impact Wrestling, and maybe I'll give that new NXT show a whirl, that Level Up show that has now replaced 205 Live. I'll think about that, but Impact Wrestling for sure, no doubt about that, because that's what I always do. Wednesday, of course, we got Mayhem with NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite as always. I don't know if we're going to have a show next week. We might be going on a hiatus because we don't have much of content to get into. But unless, something huge breaks out or anything, then we will maybe have a show next week. But if not, then we may not see you for another Strictly Sports show until NCAA tournament time. Maybe not next week, but the following week. I mean, I'm thinking we could dedicate a show to the conference tournaments, because 2 weeks from now, I do believe the conference tournaments will be getting underway, and we'll give our thoughts on that, and we'll see about our tournament selection show. Last year we got to do, for the first time ever, we got to do the tournament selection show live as it happened, and I can't tell you how much of a thrill that was for me and for all of us this past year. And I'm hopeful that we'll get to do it again. If we do, awesome. But if not, then we'll probably go back to our normal time. But, we'll get back to you in that regard. But if we don't do a show next week, then 2 weeks from now, most definitely, I believe we should dedicate a show to the conference tournaments. So we'll figure it out. But for right now, until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock. And of course, Didi Whitson, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk on Braves Fan 95 with MF, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.